break. It's about the Gilded Age. Okay, the Gilded Age refers to think like 1870s to 1900. Okay, the term the Gilded Age is coined by Mark Twain. Okay, we know Mark Twain. He'll be a famous author during the Gilded Age, and one of his books was called The Gilded Age, A Tale of Today. Okay, and when something's gilded, it means it's covered in gold. Okay, but think of it, it's like a facade. It's the idea that it might be misleading because something's like, it's like the idea of you're going to have wealth like no other during the Gilded Age. Okay, for instance, some of these millionaires, they're so rich, they are smoking cigars where the papers are $100 bills that make up the cigars, and $100 bills are like the equivalent to like $1,000 bills. You know what I'm saying? They're just smoking it because they can. Okay. So you'll have this huge wealth, but you also, so it's very gilded, wealth. But what's really going to happen is the people who are doing the work for them, the factory workers, the immigrants and stuff, they're hardly can make ends meet. So while we think it's all about wealth, really a lot of it's kind of misleading. That's why it's called the Gilded Age. Okay. I'm just talking for a second, Jackson. Okay. I'll tell you when we're in our notes. Okay. So what we're talking about now is reasons for this huge industrial growth. Okay. So let's first do a little review about the first industrial revolution in America. Okay. We know that we borrowed a lot of it from, I think this is y'all's first blank, and let me know if it's not matching up. England's industrial revolution, right? We basically remember Samuel Slater sneaking the blueprints of the spinning jenny and all that to America. Okay. And it's going to be the cotton textile machine. Okay, remember, England's all about the textile machinery. We kind of sneak it over here, and what do we create? A textile industry in America up north. Okay, and who is that guy? Samuel who? I just said it. Slater, Slater. So it's England, textile, Slater. Do I have the right outline? Okay, good. Because like I said, every couple of years, I update them and stuff, and I'm looking, you never know. All right, in the Industrial Revolution in the 1800s, we know that Eli Whitney, yes, he did the cotton gin. That's in the 1700s, 1793. What did he do in 1830? He developed what officially? Interchangeable parts. And that really helps out consumers. So if one piece breaks, you don't have to buy a whole new product. Okay. Now this is technically, don't even worry about the 1830 part. That's just when it was official. Now, number 2 is important. Okay. It's a guy named Frederick Taylor. Do not get confused with Frederick Jackson Turner and Frederick Taylor. One is about the frontier closing, and hopefully you got that right on your quiz. And Frederick Taylor, though, is about efficiency. Okay. There's something called scientific management. Scientific management. What he did is that he was a scientific manager. He was hired to go into factories, and he had a little pocket watch, and he would almost use it to keep time, like a stopwatch in a way. And he would basically challenge people, workers, to be how fast can you make this? Okay. And he would watch them and be okay, can you shave off a second? Can you shave off another second? And find out the sweet spot of the fastest, most efficient way to produce something. Okay. And then he would consult with the factory owner, and it's look, have production quotas from all these calculations. Here's that, they should be working at a very fast rate, and here's the production quota. If they want to get paid fully, they need to meet the production quota. Okay. Eventually, in the 1920s, who's going to really improve the Taylorism? Think 1920s. Ford. He will improve it by using the assembly line. Okay. The division of labor, that's Taylorism. That means you do one thing over and over again. Do you have to be the expert on it? No, because you're just taught that one skill. So you're semi-skilled or unskilled. Okay. And then in the 1920s, we'll have the conveyor belt, which will be the assembly line, which makes it even faster because now instead of you transporting things, it's slowly moving. Okay, so please make sure you know that. And that is Frederick Taylor, that picture of him right there. Okay. So now let's talk about reasons for this rapid industrial growth, okay? And just want to point out, okay, by 1900, America was the leading industrial power in the world, okay? Yeah, so by 1900, we are known, okay, for producing the most, okay? So let's explain why, okay? First thing is we're going to have an abundance of natural resources. And you can see from this map right here, look at all the gold, the silver, the oil, okay? And this isn't even including the Alaskan, Klondike. That definitely had a lot of it, okay? Look at the coal, okay? We will discover things. For instance, oil will be first drilled in America, retrieved from America's, 1862 during the Civil War. Okay, and they're like, oh, we have oil, so that's going to open up stuff. So we're going to have so many raw materials, natural resources, okay, in the earth, in America, okay. The guy who gets the credit for drilling the first oil out of America is a guy named Edwin Drake. Okay, and he did that in Pennsylvania in 1862. Okay, another reason for this huge boom in industrial growth is an abundant labor supply. We're going to have more people to work for us, and they're going to work for cheap, okay? Mainly because they are immigrants. And even if you pay an immigrant hardly anything in America, it most likely was better than where they came from. So that's why factory owners can justify paying them like half of what you pay an American citizen male, because again, it's better than where they came from. Okay. Also, remember we talked about the homesteaders and like how a lot of them were not successful. It's like, hey, we tried it. That was a chapter in our lives. Now let's move back to the cities, and they would get jobs. So also farmers, like after they kind of failed with the homesteading, they'll go and they'll, they're just thankful for some type of wage. Okay, so again, these people are going to start these businesses that are going to be really wealthy. They don't have to, their workers who are doing the work for them, they're hardly paying them anything because there's so many of them. Okay, hundreds of thousands of immigrants came to America in the Gilded Age. Okay, next, we'll have a huge advanced transportation system. Okay, especially with railroads. Okay, think about it. We'll have standard gauge, we'll have standardized time zones. It's all about, we'll have telegraph wires and stuff. It's all about efficiency and trading things. And that transportation, those internal improvements are really going to boom. Okay. We also have a huge growing population, and that will serve as a market. Not only are we going to make lots of things, we have so many people living in America now. When we talk about a market, in parentheses, that means we're going to have more customers. So we're going to start producing things because there are more people in America now, and they will buy it. Okay. Another thing is capital was plentiful. And when I talk about capital, okay, I am talking about, that means money that you invest. So again, if I start a new company right now, a tutoring company, and I have no money, I need capital. Okay. You or your parents could invest in my company, and the money that you put in my startup company is called capital. Okay, people had money around, and they were able to invest in new companies. Capital was plentiful. Okay, also during the Gilded Age, the government will be friendly to business. Okay, workers' compensation, minimum wage, safety guidelines do not exist. Okay, I think in all of U.S. history, if there is a time to be an entrepreneur in America, it's during this time. You can pay immigrants, you can pay them whatever you want, because there is no government telling, basically if the government got involved, it was to help you. Like for instance, there will be high tariffs during the Gilded Age. So the government is involved, but it's to protect the businesses. So it's a great time to own a business in the Gilded Age. Okay, and again, you'll have some high protective tariffs that will help. And think about railroad companies. They're going to get land from, if they're building railroads, they get paid through land grants, which they can sell and make a lot of money off of. So the government's going to be very friendly to businesses. Okay, and then number 7, entrepreneurs. Y'all know entrepreneurs, think businessmen. Okay, so make sure, you know, causation. What were some reasons for this boom in industry? Okay, let's talk about a couple. And you see on the backside, there's a long chart, especially because it's, you know, this virtual learning. I'm going to tell you some that you have to know, and then I'll talk about the rest. Okay, so the first one I want you to write down for development, refrigerated box cars. Okay, and the guy's name is Gustavus Swift. But you just have, it's called, like, if you ever heard of Swift and Armor today, if you're ever on the interstate and you see these big trucks, okay, that's Swift usually. Swift and Armor, okay, it's from this company. And what it does is that, think about the cattle industry and like things, okay, refrigerated box car means a train that is refrigerated. They would do, if you ever seen Frozen, it like legit is true here. It's like, you know, they go to lakes and they get like cubes of ice. Okay, they would do that and put those cubes of ice in the refrigerated box cars. And they would have them insulated in these refrigerated box cars so it would keep things cold, so like meat and dairy and stuff wouldn't spoil. So that's going to change things for sure. You can actually, like, you know, things will last longer. Okay. Next, we have the Bessemer process. Okay, the person, he's British, Henry Bessemer. Okay, and what this does is that it basically is an affordable and fast way to turn iron into steel. Okay, y'all know iron can be very heavy. It also can oxidize and all that, and it can rust, and that could be a problem. Okay, so Henry Bessemer, okay, this is something like, this is not in America. We will borrow this stuff, okay? You melt down the iron, and then you blow air into it, and it will release the carbon. And the carbon is what makes the iron be impure and rust. So what's going to happen is, when you blow this air into the melted iron, the carbon gets out of the iron, and then when it solidifies, you can choose how thick you want the steel to be. It's not going to rust because the carbon has been removed, okay? And it used to be very costly to do this, but Henry Bessemer will develop this technique that's going to be more affordable and efficient. Okay, you will see people like Carnegie is going to really take this in America. Okay, but the Bessemer process. Okay, next we have the transatlantic cable, and this is going to be a guy, Cyrus Field or Fields. Yeah, this. Okay. And we know the telegraph will first be successful. It will be official in 1844. But that's just in America. Okay. By 1900, there will be cables connecting all continents, all 7 continents together. And you can, you know, send a telegraph message, a telegram, in minutes now. So we're expanding it internationally, okay? And what they did, think like kind of close to Ireland, but you had 2 boats that started in the middle, and they had this cable, and the cable will be on the right, okay? It was wrapped around the telegraph cable, and they had 2 boats, and they would dig and lay it out, below the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, it's pretty cool if you think about the 1800s. Okay, the picture on the left is our internet cables. I just wanted to show you it's the same process. Okay, where it's below, and a lot of the internet cables are right next to where the telegraph cables were. Because I know it's been around for so long, that's a safe spot. But again, it's like you had 2 boats that dug, and they just kept on getting farther and farther apart. Eventually they got to land and knew they could connect. Okay, so now that's going to make things, it's not just about mass communication. You now can ship things and order things in minutes now instead of weeks. Okay. Okay, we also have the telephone. And who is that in that picture? Alexander Graham Bell. Okay. This is the first, this makes it even more instant than telegrams. Okay, this will be established, I think, 1876, I believe. So I think near the end of Reconstruction. And what is cool is that what people don't realize, Alexander Graham Bell created the telephone, which is even better than telegraph because even more instant.